Okay. Ready when you are, sir.
Go. Update from the clerk of the works. That's you, Larry.
Okay, I'll start with Area A.
Area A is where?
It is the west side of the property,
The gymnasium.
where the new gym's going.
Okay.
So
Larry's report in there, there's minutes from the architect attached to the agenda here, so.
So they've done some window demo in that area. There's not very much in there, but they're removing the glass block windows in anticipation of getting new windows. They had to take some measurements a while back, so that's been ongoing. The Area B, which is the next area to the east, they're putting in, the electricians are putting in cable tray. Got some ductwork, more ductwork has been fabbed and being installed. They are demoing windows in this area on the north and south side of Area B. Area C, that's the area that is where that radius lobby and stuff was, and part of your, it goes all the way down to the mechanical room. So Area C, they've demoed the floor trusses, a lot of debris in the crawl space. They've cleaned that out, and they're starting a footer that goes in that area, in Area C where that lobby was. Tomorrow they're planning on putting rebar, tying rebar, and pouring some footers Wednesday, 10 o'clock. That's the latest and the greatest. Moving to the south from there, we have some fitters. The fitters are working in the library. They're putting in some pipe and some hangers. They are also working on the chimney. The chimney should be, when I left, it was probably a foot from the roof. So it should be flush with the roof by end of business when they should be done today.
Did they decide to leave it in place?
No, the chimney is to be torn down and in its entirety into the mechanical.
So they decided, okay, that was the discussion period that you missed.
That would be torn down because there's electrical equipment in there they have to get conduit to their switchgear. Now, with regards to the switchgear and the mechanical room has been, they put new floor drains in, and there's been discussion about the old floor drains. It looks like they're going to be tied in, cleaned out, and tied into the new sanitary that's going through that area. One of the reasons you want to tie in the old drains is because the boilers that you currently have condensate in them. Condensate's got to go somewhere, and they have everything piped to the old drains. And there's also where the switch gear is going to be located. Basically, if you go down the steps into the mechanical room, it's going to be straight ahead. And there's a floor drain there, and they have a floor drain in front of the switch gear. So if you abandon that, it will pull there, and you obviously don't ever want water in front of your switch gear if it were to have water's there. It's all bad. So they're going to tie those. My understanding is they're going to tie those floor drains back in to the new sanitary system. There's also some cable tray going in Area C where the old kitchen was. That was just started today. There has been some rain leader work being done in that old kitchen area. Also, that's also C. I did forget one thing. The drain outside where the steps are in the mechanical room on the outside, where you go down from the outside and where you would exit, there's a drain right there. That should be tied in too when they're all done, because we can't, otherwise it's just going to pull water there and you're going to have problems. So that's going to be tied in also. I forgot to mention that. I will verify that tomorrow with the project managers and Anthony. So regarding the old kitchen, they have had, they put some hot and cold, they put your heating lines in, your supply and return in there. They had tied some roof drains in. They were working on that. They did a little bit of work in the multi-purpose room now, the old multi-purpose room. They've put a supply and a return in there. There's some questions that Anthony has to answer in that area, which I'm sure he will. And so that pretty much sums up C. You go to area D, we have ductwork being installed in that area.
D's the south wing.
It's the very south part of the, yes.
Have they started any exterior foundation work?
Yeah, so area D, they've got ductwork in. They're also putting up the block walls where they demoed the windows out on the west side. And they're preparing to do the south side right now. Now, with regards to the addition on the west side, that addition on the west side, they've got the footers in, as you know. They got the piers in, as you know, and they're putting the block up right now.
Okay.
So it's, and they're, they went so far with the block on the foundation, and then it went back to the width, blocking in the old windows. So they're bouncing back and forth there. The D South addition, they have the footers poured, piers are poured, and they were stripping the forms off the piers. I think it was just either Friday or today, maybe a little of both. And that kind of takes care of that. They have moved in some more equipment. They being JC Orr, they brought in another excavator. It's a little larger than the one they have, so they now have 2 excavators on site. Plus they have a skid steer, track mounted skid steer, and they have a small skid steer that they use. So they have more equipment on site to keep the excavation going.
Have they started the excavation on the west, where the gym is, in the kitchen?
No, that is not over on A. No, that has not been started. They're going to start they're doing C. Out front where the lobby is, they're going to do that. Then I expect them to go over there. I can ask tomorrow if I can get you an answer when they want to.
No, they're just trying to get an idea. So they're gonna do the area in front of the building. Is the next area on the concentrate?
Yeah, they're concentrating on that. They got the floor out, and like I said, they cleaned all the debris out of the crawl space that fell down in there, all the concrete and various other things. That's been cleaned out, and they're getting a footer ready. There's a wall has to go in there with a footer. And I think there's some piers in there too, but anyhow, they're getting that prepared, and they're going to have the iron workers come in, tie rod, and get ready for to pour that footer Wednesday, 10 o'clock is last I heard.
Terry, with the colder weather that we've been having, are they doing anything with the concrete or the
Yes.
mortar to keep it from
Yes,
freezing?
Yes, so they have to wrap, they cover they blanket the block after they're done. That keeps the heat in. Same thing when you pour the footers, they have blankets, insulated blankets there. They cover the footers, and then when they pour the piers, they cover the piers. They wrap the piers in these blankets. We've had, as you know, we've had cold mornings, pretty cold. The block layers haven't been starting at 7 o'clock. They've been coming in, maybe starting at 10.
Yeah, I understand. They're not using calcium in the cement, though.
Not that I know of now.
Are you taking any cement cores?
Yeah, yes, everything that they do, there's a company called Earth Tech, and I have all the reports if you'd like to see them. I'll give
I
them.
don't need to see them. I just want to make sure that we're following up on that kind of QC.
Yes, there's a company called Earth Tech. They check anytime they bring cement in, they do a slump test, a temperature test, everything you need to pour, because they check the soil before you can even approve the footers, because you'll see a change order in here where they had to dig down. I think they're dig down beyond, I think it's 3 feet beyond what they're supposed to. So they had to come back till they got the good soil on D South, that addition there. I would say let me think, the south wall, the south footer, and the footer on the west side. So the two out of the 3 walls had to be dug down deeper to get into good soil. And there's a company coming in called Earth Tech that says, yep, that's good soil. You can now, that's good, you're good to build on that. So
When they dig down, are they pouring concrete there? Or are they putting stone in?
they're putting stone in to bring it back up.
Bring it
So you
back
don't
up
have to,
there.
because to put all that in, that would be very expensive. And then they
I've
got
seen them do
compact, Well, then they compact it.
Yeah.
They gotta meet compaction tests, and Earth Tech is there while watching over this. They also give me a report, and if you'd like to see what I have.
I don't personally need, maybe Tom or Terry or
Terry does.
some of the other folks
Yeah,
maybe.
show all
would.
those reports to Terry. Make sure he looks at each one.
Okay.
No problem.
One
Okay.
question I had, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure that,
We're following standards. The
the-
general contractors being held to standards. It's an independent contractor coming in to tell them that, yeah, you can do this, or no, you can't. And, they're following his recommendation.
And they break the cylinders,
Yeah.
they're making cylinders,
Yeah.
and they break them, and
Yeah, and I
7
have,
days,
there's like a
28
28-day break and a 14-day break, if I
There
recall.
should be a 7-day break.
Maybe 7.
The 7/28 would be the typical.
and one question I had, Tom, like on our pours, we would have high-low thermometers. Is that normally required with vertical construction?
I don't know the answer to that.
Because then, the inspector would check it every day and see the high temperature and the low temperature, because you don't want to overheat the concrete, you don't want to freeze it either.
correct.
I don't know the answer to that. The calcium chloride's a problem, Walter, in exposed masonry.
It deteriorates the concrete.
They could be using it in the mortar, but it's everything they're doing right now is inside, except for the foundation work.
That's correct.
So even the foundation work should get coated and protected.
It does.
Yeah. So there's
You
no.
mean even like at the YMCA where that white stuff came down, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's effervescence, and that's clearly attributed to the calcium chlorides, and whatever else is in the water that week.
Does somebody go witness it breaks?
Yeah, I don't, but there's,
Well,
Earth Tech does?
yeah, they have.
yeah, and Earth Tech is paid by basically us.
Yeah.
To do this inspection. If the breaks don't make it on a 7-day break, then they break the 28. And if that doesn't make it, then we got all kinds of interesting things happen. Okay, usually what happens is that the concrete guy doesn't want to have to talk to you again, so we make sure that if you ask for 3,000 PSI concrete, he's giving you 4.
Who's providing the concrete?
Marion Center.
Only 2 real companies here.
They provide everything that I've seen from the slump test and temperature, we haven't had any issues initially from what I've seen, because I check with the guy, ask him how things are going. And they do provide us with a report. You want to see it, I'll gladly, you're welcome to it. Speaking of Earth Tech, I think I reported it earlier, but since we're here, they come out and on area A and B, which is the west side of the building, you're getting reinforcement for your rooftop units. I asked to have an inspector come out and look at this, because it was done, it's complete. He came out and looked at it, they found 2 missed welds, and all the welds that they did, the inspector found 2 missed welds, they went back and repaired them, or didn't repair them, they re-welded them. Shouldn't say they re-welded them, they welded them, because they missed them, my mistake. But anyhow, they did that, and when the inspector comes again to inspect the rest of the job, then he'll look at those and approve or.
Sign off on them.
You saw those, I've never seen so much.
I've never seen anything like that.
There's a
And
lot-
you
there's a
know,
lot.
My only guess is because it's a shallow,
I still don't know why they didn't slip a
Me?
piece of red steel in and call it.
yeah, I don't know.
Um,
The time it took to
Oh,
fabricate that and weld it.
Yeah.
They basically fabricated a 6-inch truss out of plate steel.
Angle.
Yeah,
I think, right?
I thought it was plates, but it doesn't, so you have something this big spanning the width of the hallway, and every one of those things is it's just an amazing amount of welding.
You can hardly get your arm through this open space in this.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how much bracing is in it, every weld, top and bottom.
And this is only holding up a 900-pound machine spanning 6 or 8 feet. So it
You
just.
might need to land a helicopter on it at some point.
Maybe.
Well, it just looked like they really worked really hard at this.
Some of them, you're right, some of them are 900 pounds, some of them are higher in weight.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
and
But
I agree with.
But a
what you're
couple of
saying.
three pieces of 6-inch red steel would have done it. Or they could have also,
Laminated.
they could have right down on top of the walls, but they didn't do it. So that it's done now.
It's
though.
held for strong.
Yeah,
It's ready.
yeah. Well, I'm a little concerned because we have to blow air through those suckers. And I'm not quite sure how that's gonna work, but we'll see.
Okay, Terry. Or Larry.
I'd ask, Larry, I'd ask if the windows have been ordered.
Yeah,
Can we change the color of the mullions?
not now. They were ordered about 4 weeks ago. I got a hold of Glass Erect, I didn't get a hold, I had JC Orr call. They were ordered 4 weeks ago and it's moving. They're on their way. If you want to change it, I'm expecting, they told me you're going to push the windows out weeks, maybe a month. I don't know. I don't know.
I was looking at doing a black mullion as opposed to mill finish mullion, so, but that was
Are you saying mullion,
mullion
like those things that go, oh,
between the glass,
Between the, yeah.
but,
I thought they were supposed to be black. I think we discussed that, didn't we, way back?
I'm
Sort of, seems like we did.
Yeah, well, one of the problems is we discuss things and we discuss things and we don't make a decision.
Yeah.
The decision that's on the drawings is mill finish. Now, we only have the one rendering. Are the panels, are we fixed on those panels?
Excuse me?
Are the panels also whatever's on that drawing?
As far as I know, yes.
I'm,
And have they been ordered?
Yeah, everything's been ordered. That's what I was told.
that's
Excuse me, it's Tony Shinsky. I've been here listening for quite some time. The last time Joe Orr described this at our last job site meeting, he said you could pick any Sherwin-Williams colors you wanted for those panels and they would order them in a roll. So those colors have not been ordered, but we are really pushing up against, scheduling deadlines to get that stuff completed. But at our last job conference, this question was asked. I thought it was asked by Tom, and Joe said, no, you can pick any Sherwin-Williams color you want, which we have sent you the fan panel. You can look at those colors, but those colors were selected and displayed to you quite some time ago at the DD level. But the district is free to choose whatever colors they like.
What about the mullions, Anthony? Can we go to the black?
No, that's, as Larry said, that's been mill finish for as long as I've been involved. And it sort of matches the color of the insulated metal panels that are the predominant skin of the building.
And when you were
Quite frankly, I would be concerned about switching it to black. I mean, that is a dramatic change in the appearance of the building. Where do you start and stop that? Because we have mill finish cow wall framing with white liner panels. I mean, it's going to be a dramatic change.
Okay. And mill finish, can you describe, is it?
It looks like aluminum.
Yes,
I
like frames on the wall there.
I like it.
or a window
Why do
frame.
you want black?
Colors- what's our window frames material?
Because our colors are red and black.
Oh,
Like the new
Yeah.
August edition.
That's mill finish.
That color.
I like it. I like it. Sort of neutral.
Print it for you.
What happened to the?
Thanks, Anthony.
The other issue that Larry addressed, he said something there that I was not clear on what he was saying, but I guess it's past. He said something that I didn't think was 100% accurate, but that's okay. It is what it is.
What was that?
I could be wrong.
Yeah, it skipped my mind now, but when you were saying it, I thought, well, that doesn't quite sound right to me. But
Well, my apologies in advance if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll be glad to make it right.
You'll remember.
Anthony, what's the deadline we need to have the Sherwin-Williams colors to you selected or to Mr. Orr?
well, to be honest with you, we are now beyond the 90-day deadline for all the submittals to be submitted from the contractors. We are now approaching 120 days. And I've said a couple of times, we really need to get these things back to the contractors, or we could be hearing from the contractor about delay. So I don't have a definitive date for you. I can tell you that by contract, these things were to be decided in the first 90 days of the contract, and they have not been. So we need to move on it pretty quickly.
So when you were here 2 weeks ago, Tony, were we already past the deadline?
Yes, we were. But remember, Joe said we have some time to get those things done. And the last that communication we had between J.C. Orr and the district was that you expected to have those decisions made by the first week in March, and he was okay with that.
What color do you think would look nice, Tony?
Well, we're gonna have,
I
no,
just want
I
to
mean,
know, he said we had to select a
we're gonna
color
have mill finish. Okay, we don't
on
have
everything.
on the metal mullions.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, now we have choices of the color of panels. We were presented 2 weeks ago with a color pattern that I can't find today.
Oh, I remember seeing it.
It's right there.
I would just add a little more green to the yellow.
It's not like that.
I liked what you said, Tony, or whoever. said it.
Well, again,
This is it.
we tried to coordinate some muted tones with the existing brick and the red brick that we've selected and other, information that we had about the building, trying to bring it up to date some, but not have overpowering colors.
You don't think
and-
that yellow will go fluorescent, do you?
I do not. Yellow tends to what we refer to as dust. It will tend to fade out quicker than some of the other colors. But we wanted to pick something that was reminiscent of the baseline brick that you have that we're not, these colors need to coordinate with the existing building. And we thought that we were pretty careful about selecting that.
Well, I think it's nice. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I thought about maybe,
My concern is that yellow doesn't appear on the inside. And we only have 2 colors here and we have 4 colors.
The yellow is all of the hallways. It's darn near the same color.
Well, guess what? We don't have any samples of the terrazzo or the wall paint for the hallways. I don't know what that is.
Well, I have the terrazzo. The only color difference in the terrazzo, it's an off-white with marble chips. I have it here. I'll bring it tomorrow. I thought that we had submitted that, but perhaps not. And
It's
then
already-
there's
it's already
a
colored.
blush red for the logo at the lobby.
is that a red with a purple or a red with an orange? Or
It's-
more blue or more orange or yellow?
It's not those.
This
I'll
red.
bring it tomorrow. It's called Red Matrix, and it's a muted red. It's not a bright red.
Sort of a cardinal, so it's got blue.
This is called begonia.
But again, we tried to stay sort of what's called monochromatic with the interiors, especially in the corridors. So it's really an off-white floor for everything in the corridors, and then the only place there's a splash of color is the logo at the lobby.
Well, you have a pattern of terrazzo in the lobby, I'm sorry, in the corridors.
Nope, that was the alternate for the VCT, which was not taken.
Is the brick more beige or more yellow?
I think in the sunlight it gets a yellow to it.
Does it?
I think so. I mean, it's different. I mean, when you see that building in the sun, it takes on a whole new.
That was
Yeah.
at the time in the 40s and 50s when that was made. It was generally referred to as blonde brick. It was a special clay that was kind of unique to its time. You don't see it used very often these days. We can call it whatever color we want. We just referred to it as the yellow brick, which is a common name for it.
And then
It's almost like fireplace brick. Yeah.
Yeah.
the tile on the inside hallways, I'd say it's more beige than yellow, right?
Yeah.
Again,
We're getting terrazzo floor tiles.
Right.
We have
terrazzo, not tile. It will be epoxy resin tile cast in place. So it's seamless.
Yeah, so
It's
it
not
wouldn't have
tile.
any, it's not gonna fight with the yellow.
No, it's an off-white muted tone, similar to what we're painting the wall above the yellow.
Because the
I'll
paint,
bring it tomorrow and then you can see it. I think we have time on the flooring. The flooring is one of the last things I'll put in.
there are some yellows that are almost ivory, you know, like they're in between a cream and an ivory and they have the yellow cast to them. There's more yellow than. So it would
I
actually
don't
probably-
disagree, but you're free to pick any colors that you want. I mean, I could show you 100 colors and you're gonna, like 3 of them. So pick whatever colors you like.
Okay, we have to concentrate on the exterior and make those decisions.
Well, we can't take forever to pick out 3 colors.
Yes, we can,
Why?
because welcome to color.
I know, I understand that, but the basic, are you okay with the basic outline?
No,
it has?
I'm not.
Would you tell me what you don't
Well,
like?
you're holding it upside down.
Okay, what don't you
I
like?
like to get more color into it. It's going to be gray, and red and the yellow. The red is going to be a little more intense than the yellow. I'd like to see some of the other colors in there. Some of the colors we're using on the interior, I'd like to bring them out.
Like what? Just give me an idea of what
Like
shade
the,
you're looking
well,
at.
there's the blue and the green, but, isn't,
Well, green-
but not the purple.
No, purple wouldn't work, but green, not much.
So, but
Thank you.
I'm only one of 9.
So,
All I would tell you is that, it's a careful coordination with the existing brick and the aluminized panels that have been, selected for the primary exterior component. There's only a couple of those colors available, which is why we picked the mill finish mullions. You have to be a little careful about, and you're limited to the 3 or 4 colors that we selected. I don't know that Joe's going to be happy. If you look at the window patterns that we developed, we are very specific about which color goes where on every window panel, the 30-foot long panels. So,
yeah, we understand that, Tony, but we haven't, this is.
but what I'm saying is, if you're going to pick more than 3 colors, somebody's going to have to sit down and go back through it and say, where does each of these colors go? It's okay to switch a color out, but if you start saying we want more variety of color, that's going to be an impact to both Joe's quote and the actual design. Somebody's going to have to sit and sort of figure that out.
Look, it's got cream on here. I don't know what you're upset about. It's got cream right
The
here.
red that's shown in the panels right now, Anthony, do those exactly match the fascia and the roof?
Yes, they're the same Sherwin-Williams color.
Okay, just asking.
Okay, but we don't know what that color is. And we don't know what the yellow color is.
Yes, we do. We have provided you a list of every finished color by Sherwin-Williams number.
Can you tell me what color the red panel is?
I don't have it in front of me, but I know
No,
that.
I'm asking our business manager if he can tell me what color, what the exact name and number of the Sherwin-Williams is. We'll look it up.
Is it in the, assuming if we have it, it's in the spec sheets?
Yes, Jared, you should have that. I'll look tomorrow morning before I leave here if you can't locate it, but I'm sure that it's been submitted. I'll look around.
so
The color decision was made last fall, and we just found out about 2 weeks ago. And we have to make a decision.
Tom, those colors were actually specified in the bidding documents.
But we never saw them. We
That's-
never actually saw color on this building until 2 weeks ago.
I don't really want to argue with you, but we did present you a colored rendering some time ago at the DD level that
Or rendering.
represented these colors.
The exact shade.
The color rendering was at the very beginning of the project.
So
No,
how-
it was.
so the question is, how are we gonna get to picking them? Or
Yeah.
you guys get to
Right.
picking them?
It
So-
better be-
So at the next board meeting, you guys have.
Yeah, we have to have,
Vote.
we have to have something in a week or two.
So, Tom, explain to me, why you're looking at or suggesting or thinking about the green and the blue as well, mixed in with this red and
We're
yellow.
using those colors in the interior.
Look, you got green and blue in there.
We're
They don't
using
work as
those
well.
colors on the interior. We're not using the yellow on the interior. okay?
We
And
put the yellow where the purple
and we
is.
got purple.
We can use the yellow where the
That has
purple
to get
is.
changed out, okay, from what I understand. I'm trying to make it. And when you look at the rendering, the elevation, there's going to be little spots of red, a lot of gray, and a couple little pale yellows on the thing. Okay, it just doesn't,
Okay,
okay, we should at least pull the yellow inside.
We can put in the offices. That's
So if you look on the finished boards that we left with you last time I was there, you'll see that the 4 panels of the door side lights don't include the purple. They include the red, yellow, and green, as I recall, and a gray. So that there are 4 panels in the side lights, and we selected a single color for each panel that goes with those lights. So that there is yellow on the door side lights, but quite frankly, other than being inside the classroom,
Tony.
There's no yellow in the side panels,
Yeah.
Tony.
It's purple.
It's the purple, the blue, the green, and the red.
Yeah.
okay, so my mistake. My point, however, is that there is very limited opportunity in the corridor system to present color except at that location, unless you want to start painting walls different colors. The only place vibrant wall colors are introduced is the single display wall inside the classroom. Everything else is pretty much a vanilla box, which is sort of the common thing that we do in K-12 these days, and the teachers put up whatever things they like on the walls. So you're not competing with, the baseline building and how the teacher may want their room to look.
Tony, what color is the door frame?
It's there. It's a very dark gray.
And what color is the door?
It's there also. It's the brown solid wood doors.
Why not switch out one, like the purple and the yellow?
That's what I said. I'll be happy with the purple and yellow instead.
Well, I think you're right, because purple can suck light out.
Well, come to my current office at Horseman. I'll show you purple.
Tony,
Doesn't look good.
Mr. Orr said that he was gonna get us carpet samples.
They're over in a binder over there.
Okay, so we did get those. Okay, so we can look at it. Okay. Okay, focusing on.
And what I asked is that, in light of where we are, I think it's probably in the district's best interest to stay with the carpet line and type that we've selected. And if you want to look at the colors available, you could do that. But at this point, I think that Joe has probably negotiated with the carpet supplier for that particular pattern.
so Tony, with Tom's idea of trying to introduce more colors, but at the same time, your idea of trying to kind of match the existing brick, both red and yellow, does kind of a pale orange maybe would be another color that could be introduced that would kind of meet, add the additional splash, but at the same time maintain basically the same red and yellow tones.
What I would tell you, Walter, is that, as you can hear from the discussion last time and this time, is that color is a very subjective topic, especially in K-12. And we provided what we believe to be appropriate colors within a family range that would look nice in the neighborhood and with the existing building. I could tell you that I don't particularly like orange, but what does my opinion mean more so than anybody else's at this point? Again, you're free to pick whatever colors you want to pick. I don't know that me telling you, quite frankly, it wouldn't be in front of you if people on our end hadn't looked at it and said, yeah, that looks to be an appropriate scheme.
Okay, well, okay, I was at this point, I'm just trying to throw out some ideas that maybe, could do both, that's all.
Well, yeah, again, I believe you should have in front of you now, whoever has it, is a Sherwin-Williams fan selection color. It's like going to Lowe's and looking at, 600 colors on the wall. And
Julia and Aaron right now are
We've decided.
deep
Yeah.
into it.
Yep.
now, one of the things that I want to caution you about is that everything today, these colors need to be evaluated in what I would call true sunlight. So the fluorescent lighting that you're sitting in right now is going to cast a different hue on that color than it's going to look when it's under a different lighting condition. And all of the lights that we have in this building, interior new, will be LED lights that have different lumen qualities. So if you're not looking at the colors in a range of the environment that it's going to be in, it's going to cast a different hue. So you might like the color as you're sitting there now, and it might get put in the building, and you're going to say, I don't think we picked that color. So color is a very specific kind of subjective issue.
Tom, you okay with changing some of the inside colors to yellow? And then
I'm more concerned with the exterior colors. We need to make decisions on that really, really quickly.
Well, the interior and exterior are the same colors for the metal panels. For all the metal panels that are in the doors and things, they're the exact same panels as the exterior.
We have 3 votes.
no, I don't vote either.
No, you,
Well, who's on it? No,
I vote on it.
no, we all have to
Yes.
decide.
Yeah, you okay switching up the yellow?
Are you okay with that?
But yes, I've been okay with that since we.
Okay, we're okay with that.
Okay, good.
Walter?
um,
Jim? We're switching out the purple. The purple's like,
But that's an interior color.
I know.
Well, it'll just match up with what Tony said, which will help what you said, that there's no yellow on the inside. If we bring the yellow into those side window panels by the doors and to the classrooms, now the yellow is brought into the building and it makes a little more sense. I get how it matches with the brick. This conversation should have been about 5 minutes long, and it has been way too long.
You want a perfect world.
Our concern, just so you hear me say it, with the yellow inside is that we're not sure that it's going to look nice with the clay tile that's in the corridor. That's just why we stayed away from it.
You don't have clay tile in the corridor, you have terrazzo.
Or whatever, the glazed tile in the corridor, whatever you call it.
The glazed tile.
What color is that?
I think
Sort
it's
of
a
beige, but
institutional.
it's sort of, it's like a camel, light camel
If
color.
we're swapping the purple for the yellow, we're swapping that out in the new addition in the office area, so that's where we're getting rid of the purple from that area.
Right.
Well, I thought
Right,
we were
the
also
only-
talking
The
about
only place
side
that the
windows.
purple existed was in the admin wing.
Well, it was also in the side windows of the classrooms.
Yes, yep.
It's gonna look pink.
yeah, so
I think that's a good switch.
I think it is.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
done.
So the purple in the admin isn't gonna match any existing glazed tile. So we should be able to figure something, a different shade of yellow, beige,
Yeah, something.
almond, whatever,
Ivory.
that
Approve.
the ladies have kind of scoped out.
I get the purple being sort of a complement of the, it's complementary, but this purple, I just don't think it's gonna depress everyone.
Tony, you have 3 colors for the exterior panels. One's called reflection. It's kind of a neutral gray. Is that what you have on the majority of the panels?
Well, again, if you look at the elevation that we sent to you, we colored a portion of the elevation showing that the amount of those different colors in each panel across about 100 feet of the building.
Looks good.
This is the yellow that they picked.
But yellow's weird. You have to see it.
This is the yellow they picked. Do you want to let it ride, guys?
Yep.
Make the recommendation to the board then.
Is this at Sherwin-Williams? We can go out and get it and get a can of it and try it.
Keep building.
I don't know who your local Sherwin-Williams rep is, to be honest with you. I don't know if there's a sort of a local
Yeah,
guy.
there's a local store
Yeah,
here.
we have one. You can go, we can go get it. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna get a little can of it and try it. We'll paint it on a board and hold it up, and then we'll see if you like it.
What are the three color names, Tom? Or you said reflections?
SW6868 is real red. SW6708 is springtime. It's a
60.
light green yellow.
What does it say it again? 60?
6708. And SW7661 is called reflection. That's the gray. It's a cool gray.
You mean cool as in it's cool or cool like cool
Cool is
color?
in color. And I'm going
So to
my-
describe that, what he's saying, which many people don't understand, is that there's cool grays and there's warm grays. And the cool grays move between black and white, and the warm grays move between brown and white.
And these are the three exterior colors, and then you have the mill finish.
And there's no mock-up in the plan.
There's no mock-up. And one of the problems with that is that we could do the mock-up, wait 6 months, and then get the windows. So Julie's gonna go buy 3 quarts of this paint and paint the building.
I'm gonna paint a board.
Paint the building right out there.
If Larry's with me.
Friday afternoon, Mary. Okay. Okay, can we move on then? And we'll
Okay,
look-
so the decision is, at this point in time, Tom,
Tony's expert opinion, and the colors are gonna be beautiful.
okay,
And no one will ever question
for the exterior,
the exterior.
okay?
And the interior, they're gonna substitute a yellow for the purple.
Got that, Tony?
I'm fine with whatever direction you choose on color.
Okay, we'll give you the actual color number later on the purple substitute.
Okay. Okay, you wanna talk about roofs?
Yes, again, that was something that we included at your request. I don't know a lot about the Duralast product other than it's fairly proprietary. It looks as though the contractor came back with TPO as his base bid, likely because it was less expensive than the Duralast. So if you want to go to the Duralast, I suspect you're going to pay some money for it.
I thought the Duralast was the base bid. I thought that's what you were instructed to do.
We included it as an acceptable product. We can't put on a publicly bid product, we cannot put a single proprietary product. It must be at least 3. And that's what we did.
That's not what the damn specs read. Well, get us the number then, because we have 5 buildings with Duralast roofs with 20-year warranties on them, and they haven't caused us any trouble.
I'm sure they haven't.
And the TPO, Tony, is what?
It's I don't remember the exact tetra poly something. It's actually very similar to a swimming pool liner. It's been on the market for some 20 years. It's a common product in lieu of EPDM at this point.
What's the
EPDM is expanded polydynamic mono whatever. It's a rubber. So TPO is a almost like a PVC product.
What's the warranty on the TPO?
They're all the same. They're all 20 years.
Oh, 1 year.
And so the TPO is gonna be more similar to the rubber roofs, or is it gonna be more similar to the Duralast?
So I'm not real familiar with the Duralast. Maybe Tom knows that answer. I really don't know that answer. I suspect TPO and Duralast are more similar products because TPO is not similar to EPDM.
I don't know.
TPO is a different animal than EPDM.
And so, you're saying that we have to go with the TPO unless we have a change order to go with the Duralast, is that correct?
Yes, and I actually thought we asked or for that number already, but maybe we didn't.
Okay, but I think other than Horace Mann, all the other buildings have the Duralast on it right now. Is that
Even
correct?
Horace Mann does.
Part of Horace Mann does.
The only one that doesn't is the junior high.
Junior high is the only one that doesn't, and that's because it was done, its renovation was done shortly before we started our ESCO projects.
Right. I don't know that it's I don't know if it's a big deal or not to switch out to Duralast. We can just ask him what that number is.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna need that, Tony.
All right. I'll ask that tomorrow.
He didn't put it in. Okay. We won't make a decision. We'll wait for more information.
I mean, I don't know that if the district is happy with the Duralast, that's good. But understanding that under the municipal bidding rules, we have to include, I can't just say it's Duralast or nothing.
Really?
Probably not. Specify such a specific product.
Yeah, they didn't
Unless
specify.
you have a good reason.
Yeah,
Okay, well, get us the information and we'll try to get that figured out.
One of the good reasons is to keep the Duralast guy honest, right? If we had just put him in, who knows what it would cost. So he has to get down and compete with TPO, to try to win the project.
We've had very good luck. Every time we've bid it, he's been the lowest bidder on these roofs. So,
And I don't have an answer for you on why. I mean, we got a submittal showing TPO and we're sitting on it.
well,
They
that's
submitted
good.
TPO.
Yeah, because you spec Carlisle and did Genflex, Firestone, and VersaGuard, but you didn't do Duralast.
No, we added it by addendum.
Okay, good. Okay, well, let's get the number. Okay,
Okay, so where are we now, Tom?
we're down to change orders. So we have a change order 4, additional 10,673. Larry, what is that about?
So I think this one I sent Jared. Is this the one about the roof deck?
Yes.
Yes.
I sent Jared a note saying that our structural engineer reevaluated his comments, and we are telling the contractor to ignore any comments related to 20 gauge deck versus 22 gauge deck. And if there is still a change, resubmit it.
So we're not ready. We don't need approval from the district's end on this yet. It could change.
It should go away. I don't know what else was buried in that change order. It looked like there was a couple of joist tail ends that he needed to change, but it was predominantly this deck issue.
Larry, what do you have to say?
Anthony's correct. What I was told from the contractor today, I asked some questions about this. There's 10 joists that are, I was told 1 foot 8 inches longer, and they're also of larger diameter, larger to handle more weight. And the deck went from 22 gauge to 20 gauge, and they're telling me there's about 3,400 square feet of that deck that was changed. But that's all I know from J.C. Ortec.
Okay, and what
And
Tony,
I'll leave the rest to Tony because he's the
but
expert.
what Tony's saying is they're going to change the deck back to 22 gauge.
Back-
Yep, I sent that out as an email this afternoon.
Okay, but you think that are these new joists, Tony, or are these existing joists that are getting extended?
Well, they're the new joists, and the ones that get extended, yeah, they're all new. It was primarily in C, as in cat section,
Yep.
around where the stair is for the pop-up roof.
Did they just make them wrong, or?
They haven't manufactured them at all. We said, based on our drawings, you need to extend this tail to 1 foot 8 instead of 9 inches or something like that. I don't think that's a big issue on the joists. I think, this may very well just go away, but it's, I'd say, as Larry said, it's probably 95%. It was the deck, and we told them, forget about the deck.
Okay. So this is pending more clarification?
Yeah. And again, the number should dramatically drop.
Okay, we have another change order of $4,074. What's that one about?
I believe that's the over excavation, isn't it?
That's correct.
Yes.
And that's really subject to the building inspector coming out and saying that soil is unsuitable to pour concrete. You need to dig it out.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, Larry and Jared reviewed that on site with the contractor and gave them on-site approval to proceed.
Yep,
Yeah.
to keep everything going.
Okay, so we will approve that one. If we can get number 4 for next board meeting, we'll move that one. We get number 4 corrected. We would move both of them forward. Okay. You have a total number.
Now let me offer here while we're talking about this that we are 90% through, maybe even more at this point, through the submittal process. And in my humble opinion, virtually all the demolition and heavy duty renovation to the existing building is pretty well complete. So I'm very hopeful that we are going to see the end of these change orders based on, existing conditions or whatever the case may be. The only one that I'm aware of that I'll be bringing along tomorrow is the request for the OSHA, ladder down to the existing crawl space at the music room that we talked about last time. I've got all those sketches together, and the change at the cool down room door. That's all one bundle. We have that ready to go. Other than that, I'm really hoping that we are over, the major hump on this kind of a thing.
Okay, so
I know what it was, Larry, that I remember. It was the chimney. We said by addendum that the chimney should be taken out down to the foundation, but then the existing conditions show us that the stair that comes down into there is resting on part of that chimney, as it appears to us. So we asked Orr to tell us what it was worth not to rip it out of the boiler room, to leave it, under the roof structure, but leave it in that area. So there should be a credit change order coming to us for not removing that entire chimney. Only the exterior part of the chimney is to be removed.
I gotta say something here. The electricians have switch gear.
Yeah, we reviewed that last time I was on site, Larry.
I'm sorry.
We reviewed that last time I was on site and came up with a solution that allowed the chimney inside the building to stay in place.
Okay, I wasn't aware. Thank you.
Anthony, way back, we had talked about taking the chimney down to match the elevation of the hallway. And that would provide a little bit of a storage platform. We could put, we were going to put a fence or, a railing around it or whatever or something.
I don't ever remember that conversation, Terry, but
It was with Elijah. It was with Elijah for so long.
Well, then I missed it. I don't really see that as a valuable. I mean, it's 4 square feet, but I'll look at it and ask Joe about it.
No.
Okay. We good? We were asked to do a summary of the project. And Jared produced that.
Yep, there's everybody.
Yeah, he's included the change order 4 in its full amount. So that number would change by next Monday, hopefully.
Yep, it could change, but I broke them down by individual contractors. Right.
If I may suggest, come down to the bottom of this sheet and do a total number.
There is on the back of it, on the second side of it. There's a total of $230,012.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Maybe if you made it bigger so I could find it. Sorry.
And make it pink. Highlighted in pink, so Tom's color of eye there can catch that.
Okay, so we're at 21,360,000 at this point.
And then I also put at the last section there is just showing what we have been budgeting as contingency of just over $1 million and how much we used of it
Perfect.
versus how much is left.
Okay.
And so your position, Tony, essentially is that we shouldn't see too many more change orders. So the 826,000 that's left is a pretty safe number that we probably won't exceed at this point.
So what I would tell you, Walter, is we do in today's marketplace, lots and lots of projects are renovations of this type. And as an industry, for new construction, we see between 2 and 3% on most projects. And for renovations of this type, it's up around 5 and 6%. So I really can't guarantee you that it won't go a little higher, but 5% of $18 million, 10% is 1.8. So we asked you to keep 5% in, about $1 million. I wouldn't expect it to be more than that if there is more, but so far so good.
Okay.
I mean, the big one was this unforeseen condition with the chalkboards. There's a few things I'm working through, with the GCs on site. And what I want to tell you is that I am very sensitive to this particular issue with a project like this. And we have not gone back and said, we're making these additional sketches and things and hitting you up for additional services on our contract. I am very sensitive to that. So I'm doing my best to try to keep this at a minimum, recognizing that, contractors are chomping at the bit to find everything that they can find that's discrepant.
Understand. Thank you, Tony.
We good?
Is there anything else for me?
I think we're good.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Tony.
sir. Yep, Tony.
Can Larry go home now? What, do you want to go home?
Can I go home?
No.
How about now?
Okay.
How about now?
We can get
Just
to-
in the last 10 minutes, I've been educating myself on Duralast versus TPO, and I vote for Duralast.
The other thing with Duralast.
The internet votes for Duralast overwhelmingly.
Yeah, the other thing with Duralast is that the insulation that's on the existing building would be able to be remained in place. And so, there's gonna be, I've never been to Duralast again.
So unless it's like $5 million more or something.
It should be less. Which is one of the things we have here. But it's also been on the roof now for 8 years.
Plus I want one of those hats.
Yeah.
Okay. Nesco Lighting, do we have anything in Nesco yet?
They have been on site. They were actually on site today, continuing to do, they came back and they're reviewing every building with Cheney and Dave. For lighting, I missed a call today with Brian Town, but I did double check. He didn't have anything like a full report to come back today, so.
This would have been pretty quick, but I want to keep it on the.
Yep,
on the-
we'll keep it on there.
on the corner.
Thanks, Larry.
See you. Thanks. Take care. Part of the ESCO conversation would be the solar energy on East Pike and at Idaho. And that's also something they're going to come with. The stuff that PA Solar sent us, would you circulate that to the board?
It's attached to the agenda and there's a copy of it in your packet.
Do you have any questions about this? This PA Solar is a pseudo-governmental operation that was set up to encourage solar usage. And so they're doing these things, trying to get people to put solar on buildings.
A few years ago, we had submitted something to get some solar work done and we lost. We paid a fee, and we paid a fee to some outfit to do a feasibility study, and they said it was feasible, and then we were turned down for the grant.
The new rules are such that if we do a $500,000 project and we get a tax credit, in the past, we couldn't use the tax credit. Now, the tax credit shows back up in our bank account as cash. And I believe that's a federal thing. There's also some state incentives. It reduces our cost substantially, not to free, but it does reduce it substantially. So I'm gonna take a look at that.
No, I have looked at this. I'm just wondering, what I don't quite get is, will we qualify, all those kind of things?
Well-
I mean, is it a matter of just how much work has to be done in order? Because they're saying over, 25 years, it saves us $500,000, and I'm trying to gauge that. And whether or not that's worth it, I mean,
That's for the one, that's for East Pike. The savings. And that's if we,
yeah, right, it says East Pike rooftop.
yeah, and that's if we basically lease our roof to a provider. Then the other option is that we actually own the system. The problem with that is that then we also have to maintain it. Whereas if we lease it. So there's those things. If everybody has this information, if you have any questions, you can ask P Solar.
Well, what I want to ask Jared is, does this mean it's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, or how does this money run? In other words, okay, so they show officers, but they're not, I don't get the impression they're state
PA
employees.
Solar is not a government agency.
No, I
don't think so.
They've been hired by the state to do this.
Okay, so they have
They are not the provider. They are an intermediary between us and actual providers,
which would be bid.
And they're bringing proposals back to us on these type of rooftops.
Multiple companies who can do
Yeah.
this as well.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
well, and they will bid to multiple companies and bring us,
I mean, there's multiple companies who will manage these
Who will
projects.
manage it?
yes.
I was gonna, if the committee's okay, pass this on to even like Brian
Oh,
Towns,
no, yeah, absolutely.
other local people who work, not local people, but other vendors who work with us, like our energy providers who also see this, and
Yeah.
they have given us input in the past to see if their opinion on it.
Yeah, but my question is, to go through one of these PO solar centers, whatever you call them, managers, we'll call them. What all does that entail? How much time is it going to take up for you to try to work with them? Do you have to file all kinds of papers? Do they just come out and do the work?
honestly do not know what that, I mean, until we would get somebody in here and actually have conversations with them and what that
So-
looks like on our end.
What are we asking for here? Are we asking for permission for you to further look into it, or are we?
That would be all I would be asking for is to make the board aware that we're looking at this, that Jared's running point on it, and we need more information.
Well, Jared, do you have time to run a point on it? You're also doing I think probably in the long run, the numbers, if provided, even if I discount the numbers by 15%, it looks like it's okay, but
Julie, what they did for me at the Y is they brought to the Y 6 or 7 different numbers from various companies that work in the area, and relayed those in front of Eric. I expect that to come out of this, regardless of what Jared does. And they'll outline the costs and the benefits of their model. And then if we choose to go through further afield, we would get married to one of the providers.
it's a significant initial investment. So I would be in favor, just for the committee. I have no objection to taking a look at it, provided that, but we have to get a feel for whether the board has any interest in it this year or not. Or alternatively, can it even be,
Yeah.
can we get anything in front of us this year? Because this seems to me, not looking at all these little panels and everything else that you have to do, and all the people it must take to get up on these roofs. I would only want to do one school at a time, almost as a pilot. That's me. But how much work is it really going to entail to get all this done for one little school?
Was it like going to Rashini and they put a shotgun and
broker.
spread out to get different quotes from different insurance companies? And that's sort of what
That's sort of what they do.
we're doing with this.
Yeah, and we also have the advantage of Brian is looking at stuff for the ESCO, and he could also incorporate either this report or his own report into that ESCO.
I think, Tom, I have no problem if the numbers work out and the other things logistically work out with doing this in concept. I'm very nervous. I like the idea of being able to lease the space. I'm very nervous about trying to own the equipment. Okay, at this point in time, do we get a little more experience with what these are? My concern is when those panels go out of service, if we own them, then what is that cost going to be to dispose of them or to replace them or what have you? Whereas if we're leasing the space, that's not a cost that we bear, that's a cost that the power company, whatever that power company is, then has to undertake.
And what you're doing is looking down the road over 30 years before those panels are replaced. So that's almost impossible to actually say what the replacement cost would be. And one of the things about the PV panels is that in 30 years, they're producing 80% of the power that they produce on year one. That's still 80% of the power. So do you let them go another 10 years, another 10, 20 years? I mean, we're talking about 2075 now. So all I'm looking for is permission to inform the board, permission to move ahead and see where this goes, if anywhere.
I actually had a company approach me about some relatively flat acreage that I have, and that was, the return for leasing was pretty powerful. The return for owning the equipment wasn't quite so attractive given the disposal. And 30 years from now, I'm not going to probably be here, let alone the seat. But the bottom line is that's my only caution is if we lease it, I can be talked into this real easy. If we're going to own it, we're going to have to really take a deep dive. That's all.
I understand. And I don't have a recommendation. I don't have an axe to grind. I'm just, but what I would like to do is to freeze our electric costs at 2024 levels for the next 30 years.
And Tom, at the risk of insulting some of our good Democratic friends here on the board, one of the issues that I have, and I'm really glad to see that Pennsylvania is stepping up, is that when we talk about moving away from fossil fuels and moving into renewables, one of the issues we've struggled with is not having the funding to do geothermal or solar or anything else. And so I'm grateful that they're stepping up to provide us an avenue to at least do that.
Amen.
My only comment as a committee member, it'd be nice to look at ground mount also, at least at East Pike here. I have a concern with putting them on roof, just from a leaks, replacement of the roof in the future. You're taking all that stuff off, putting it back on.
There was an article in the Pittsburgh paper about some poor place that put all these panels down in, was Alabama or some microburst ripped all their panels apart. Glass was flying. I mean, I don't think it's as simple as just 30 years, maybe. I think if you're lucky, so I would say you'd be lucky. I'm just going to discount you by 50% and say 15 years.
It's easier to maintain on the ground, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's also damage. I know we talked about that in the past too. But
again,
pursue it.
We're way down in the weeds, So let's as long as we can pursue it, that's okay. Daycare expansion at the senior high school.
What about the Musco quote?
Oh, do we get a Musco quote?
There's one in your packet there from October 2022. We were working with the company to get an updated one, but we at least want to provide this to you.
How much was that?
What paper are you looking at?
It kind of looks like that.
Oh,
I'll kind of let
Musco.
Dave and Cheney talk about it as they were the ones working with them.
So for football, retrofit only is $305,000 to $320,000, and I assume that includes a new pole.
No,
They would use the existing poles?
it'd be using existing poles.
You sure of that?
Yep.
Do they know that the bolts are loose?
Tom.
And the poles are rusted.
I just sent them the inspection report, so they do now.
Okay, and then doing both fields together would be $445 to $460.
Correct.
Okay. We could certainly put that onto the capital list, capital project list.
It is.
In that range.
Yep.
Okay. We also asked Brian to see if this could be incorporated into the ESCO.
Problem kind of with this individual item is here is, as of right now, nobody's gonna come fix the lights when they're out because the safety thing.
The way our lights are now.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
So
So you want to move this to a number 1?
well, we either need to make a decision on doing the full replacement or we need to make a decision on fixing what is there now, the
That was
$20-some thousand
22,000, I believe, 21,000.
repair.
Yeah, it was in that neighborhood.
So that at the very least, if the lights do burn out, somebody can go fix them. Or we could, at this point, approve this to move forward and replace them as is for the 400.
That's a lot of money.
But this is
It is.
without the poles, and that's not
This is-
likely to happen, so how much does it go up with? the
And I think
poles?
we're waiting to get their
$5 million.
idea if the poles.
Oh, stop.
I mean, even the report that we came back said the poles right now are structurally safe.
They're structurally sound, yes.
Yes.
And I did talk to him again, because his report did say that they are at the end of their life. But he said, they're not gonna fall down tomorrow. If you take care of the recommendations and have them inspected every 2 years and continue to take care of the recommendations, we might get another 15, 20 years out of them.
In the estimates based on standard soil conditions, why would they be worried about standard soil conditions if they're not replacing the poles?
Probably because they gotta put their
Oh, no,
truck up
then
next
the
to it
last
to
one
put the
says the
lights on.
owner is responsible for the integrity of the existing poles. Okay.
Well, that's a big, you're talking about this year?
Well, we either put the
mean-
safety harnesses on for 22,000
Well, yeah, I get
this
that,
summer,
but
or we replace the whole system.
Or we should
Don't we
have
still
this.
have to do both?
If we do the 22,000, we can continue to replace the light bulbs.
I mean, if we do this, we still have to do the pole maintenance.
Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah, so it should be 305 plus 22,000.
Musco's coming back out on March 11th to survey the site again and give us a more firm number. And I will ask for a price with the existing poles and with new poles. Now, if we go with new poles, we can reduce the number of poles from 9 to probably 6 if we do both fields. That's 3 rows of 2 instead of 3 rows of 3.
Yeah, that's, okay.
So-
Will they do the underground wiring, or do we have to bring wire to the poles?
It says owner is responsible for getting electrical power to the site, coordination with the utility and any power company fees.
Okay, so we don't have to get it to the site, they would dig the ditches around the poles.
Well, if they're gonna,
Ask that question, make sure.
right,
it's clear.
I'll make sure that is asked as far as if we go, make sure that's part of the quote for replacing poles.
Yeah.
In new locations.
Yeah,
So,
The other thing is that these lights are going to have a much longer lifespan than the bulbs we have currently,
yes, much longer.
much longer.
Musco offers a 25-year warranty on everything they install. So if they do the poles, that's covered. So if we're talking about inspecting the existing poles every 2 years for the next 20, 25 years, that's going to be at least $100,000. Not to mention the cost of what their recommendations are to maintain the poles. So that's in addition to that.
They'll be out in March.
that's cheery.
They'll be here March 11th.
Okay. If we can get full boat, half boat,
There's
well,
no easy way out.
no,
Still a lot of money.
it is a lot of money.
Yeah, and how are we doing on the pool? Because we just rolled out a lot of money for that, the junior high pool.
It's up and running.
We didn't put any money into the pool
We
basically.
put a
boiler.
$11,000 heater and it's functioning.
And it works.
We replaced the boiler and we replaced the chemical controller with a Pinto instead of a Cadillac, which we didn't need when we did that years ago. It's all we need.
Everything's
operating.
working, the kids are
The air
swimming.
handler's working.
Yeah,
It's still operating.
Yeah.
It's,
yeah, it's a little bit like
Talking about-
everything else, you know, it's wearing out.
it's
Needle use it in the dying.
No, it's fine. It's just fine.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
The company you're talking to is the same company we're using at the Y, and I keep twisting the guy's arm to get us a better number. So we'll see.
I already met with him on that.
Yeah.
And I really like the system that he reps
Mhm.
compared to what we have right now. It's much more simplistic, much more cost-effective
Yeah.
system.
Yeah, it seems like it has a longer life.
They're very good at what they do.
This system that we're using at the Y has been battle tested at Ys across the country. So,
Good system.
not free.
Not free.
Stop
That's
being so
exactly-
quick.
No, I don't want to, these numbers get overwhelming because this is just, it's still only February.
Okay, can we talk about daycare at the high school? Okay, this is you guys. We took a walk to the high school, the first floor. There were 3-4 opportunities to go with. We can leave the daycare room where it is, modify the classroom beside it. Is one option. That's an interior room. We could modify the faculty lounge, which I think is problematic. That was,
You can come in.
Hmm?
Come up here.
I'm right here. I'm good.
Not you.
Oh,
Now.
oh,
Come on up
okay.
here.
I
then
thought she
we
was
can-
talking
then we
to me. I had
can-
to move, she wanted me to move my chair.
You can move back there.
We looked at
You're up.
the old sewing classroom, which has a sink in it and faces the front. And we looked at the corner rooms for modification. The advantage of the corner rooms is that there's an opportunity for an outside play area that we could fence in and have access to. So those are the 4 locations. It seems like the 2 that were most favorable was leaving it where it is or using the corner rooms. Is that the summation? Discussion.
Well, what is the preference from the people who are actually gonna do it?
They were there with us.
I know, but what's the preference? Yeah.
I like the idea of being down in the one corner where we have the teacher's classroom, the former faculty room, and then another classroom. I liked that. And then I'm also okay with staying where I'm at in the current preschool room and the classroom connected next to it. Those were the 2 that I felt most comfortable with.
But the second one does not get you to the outside easily to a playground.
That is correct.
And it also gets you out of the heart of the learning area where noise and interruptions aren't so desirable. Or that back, is that the south corner? South.
We can call it the southeast corner.
Yeah, because here's the bottom line for me. You don't have to convince me. It's whichever you guys would pick. You know, if it makes sense and we can do it. I
Tim,
think
you're
we
trying to get out of here too early.
He needs to go to
Probably
bed.
has to go to
work every day for these 3 weeks. This is my day off. So
Okay.
I want to be efficient and I want to do what's best for
So-
the school district. So this makes sense to me.
So
How important is the outside access? You don't have it now. Like, would that be a big upgrade? Would you use that? Is that important or?
The only concern is with the playground is that the children, they come in October, they're done in December. So then, as of now, they don't come back till March. So, I mean, weather is always a factor, whether or not we can take them outside. So, I mean, is a playground appreciated? Absolutely. Could I live without it? Yes, I could. My main thing is I want them to have a bathroom and I would like to have a kitchen area for washing paintbrushes, prepping food. Like those are my 2 biggest
When she says a
concerns.
kitchen area, she means a sink and a countertop.
I don't know. Yeah.
Right, like basically something like you have right here.
You
I have
can
a
have that.
microwave, small
Really.
refrigerator, that would be perfect, in the classroom.
So,
Just
Yeah,
in general.
and just
for
more
the revenue.
space.
Yeah.
Correct.
so Tom, I'm wondering whether or not, I mean, we toured it and it was very obvious from the tour of the things that we saw. But I'm wondering whether or not, we could get Wade to maybe do a little floor plan, just a sketch to kind of show.
I'll do a little sketch. and circulate that at no charge to the district.
Well, I wasn't going there. You noticed I was trying to
Well,
put
Mr. Schroeder.
it on the
I appreciate
way.
it, but I'd rather have Wade figure out how we move things around. I'll do
Okay.
a little sketch.
Okay,
So
but
that we can take a look at.
I think,
Well, that was my next question is, are these spaces able to be absorbed? And is that practical? You know, if we take that corner area,
Yeah, what Sarah was looking for going into this was having a preschool area, which would be a classroom, instructional area, which would be a classroom. So essentially, those two classrooms would suffice. What I need to find is a place for a half-time teacher, whether it be morning or afternoon, I think I can do that.
You have to have a teacher in a classroom.
Correct.
and so Tom, I think we should have the sketch of the two options that Sarah said that,
No, you, no.
well, Wade could do it. Let Wade do one and you do one then,
I've
okay?
seen Wade's sketches.
Okay. But I think it would help to kind of visualize where the one, when we were in the old faculty room that had the sink and the little kitchenette there, and I looked out that back window, I really liked that area the best for the playground. But I'm kind of with what Sarah said, that, you know, if she doesn't really need the playground, the simplest solution, I think, is to modify the existing area. So I think those would be the two that
Yeah,
I'd like to kind of just visually kind of look at.
So we can rule out the playground one?
No, we cannot rule out the playground.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just, but
That's the one in the pole position, and then the interior one is the second one. So we can sketch both of those and see, and then circulate the plan.
Paint the walls yellow?
yes, we can paint the walls yellow.
I think purple.
Don't bring up.
No, better yet,
Is this
purple.
work
I don't think they should have that.
more complicated than you guys can do? We would need to do it outside.
Yes.
So, what I'd like to do is to be able to hire an architect, say, here's what we really want, and let them finish it.
Yes.
Okay? Okay, so we'll take a look at that. We'll get those in circulation.
Thank you.
We took a tour of the science rooms. There were 8 of them. Maybe more. 9 science rooms. The 215 is the room that everyone loves, which has the lab space to the exterior and lecture space on the interior.
That was a consensus for the best design, whether all the rooms allow for that or not.
The 2 biology classrooms on the existing side are the smallest rooms. They probably do not allow for that. The other rooms look like they could be modified for those. And the 2 chemistry rooms could stay the way they are. So we'll take a look at some of the larger rooms and see if we can get 24 kids around the exterior.
So Wade, one of the things that Tom and I kind of discussed was that most of those science room have a small room in between that is used primarily for storage. The one chemistry room had shelves not only against the walls, but running down the middle. And so that one would be difficult to do something with. But the other ones, basically, pardon my expression here, but the outside walls all had cabinetry on them with stuff stored in. But what I saw in the middle was just kind of stuff. Okay.
The biology rooms, those are lab prep. They do that for their prep, to get ready for the labs.
Well, the question that Tom and I were discussing was, if you needed to get closer to that 1,000 feet or 1,100 feet, you could rob a couple feet off of each wall and bring those cabinets in where you're basically just have a walk space. down through I understand the one end between the doors.
Never off.
It had a counter for the lab prep and that sort of thing. But,
You're not gonna do stitches on yourself, are you? Yeah. Ah, you're so tough.
but
Yeah, bite this piece of leather.
but the biggest part of those storage rooms to me seemed like you could grab an extra couple feet from each classroom and still have plenty of room for storage.
Well, we'd only do that if we needed the cabinet space or the lab space. But
I know, but that was one of the issues, was the rooms weren't big enough.
Yeah, those, there are two rooms that were pretty tiny.
2.8, 2.10.
Yeah, and the other ones are pretty good size. So we'll do a quick sketch.
So I guess my question to you is, that's one to go back to the science teachers to say, could you give up 4 feet of this room where you still would have access to the walls, the cabinets and the walls?
Let's do a sketch, say, does this work? Okay, because right now the answer is no. Changes makes everybody nervous. Let's just take a look at it and see what we can do. Keeping the costs under control. It looks like they would prefer to have lab space and lecture space in the same room. And they fixed labs in the middle of the room. That one room we're in, there's all kinds of extra space around those lab tables and stuff. It just, the young lady that had the lounge seating in,
212.
yeah, she had a tremendous amount of space between the lab tables. We went into the other lab and they lined them up, smushed them together. So all that out space was given over to lecture space.
He also had the idea, he wasn't at the other end, expanding those rooms, making two.
The math room, yeah.
Taking those two existing science rooms, converting them back into classrooms.
Yeah, that seemed to be pretty rich.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the most expensive option. Julie got nervous about replacing the lights.
Yeah, I'm not real crazy about that.
Okay. What do we know about the LGI room? Yeah, we skipped the auxiliary building because we didn't get back in time. So we'll keep that on the list to do another day. I care.
I know you do.
I care.
I don't care.
We are removing the swing arm chairs and putting just standard chairs in.
And that's all we need to do?
Yep.
Okay, so, and we're buying new chairs?
It's LGI stand.
That's right, we're buying new chairs for that. Okay. Okay, so we're good on that?
Yep. Julie, you know those,
We're
what
buying
he's
new
talking
chairs,
about.
or there's chairs
Is
somewhere.
that there's
in the
these swing
We're gonna
arms.
look
There's like a
first
whole big
for
row of
where we parked it.
desks.
Yeah, there's some really
It's all
nice
one
ones from
row.
Eisenhower, but they're so short.
And then you have this swing out arm.
Put bricks on it.
They're not able to keep that thing
Yeah, before we,
maintained. So they should
there's,
just cut
we
the
have
arm
authority
off
to
and put
purchase,
chairs in.
it's been approved in the capital reserve, but we were talking today, we're gonna see if we can scour the district for some first. I at least want them to match somewhat.
Yeah.
I don't want just
Right.
random chairs everywhere, but
Yeah, you can do different
That'd be
plastic
safe.
chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but cutting the arms off, that's gonna work. We're not gonna have any traps.
So what's wrong with the cell service at the senior high?
It doesn't work.
There is none.
There is no.
Well, if you stand by an open window, you can.
Oh, if you hook up to Wi-Fi every time you need it.
Well,
Okay,
what's wrong
yeah,
with
the
that?
problem is, so is this sufficient for our students and faculty?
I think, I know Brandy's on downstairs, but he has some comments on this. I know he was looking into some solutions for us.
Okay.
Randy, are you there?
Yes, Dan and I are on a conference call. Well, actually, we asked for a solution from Verizon a while ago, and they sent us one of their extenders, but one of their extenders can have like 35 to 40 connections on it, but it's not programmable. So it's like first come, first serve, which obviously would not be enough, or just the sheer number that we would have to have through the building to make that possible would be fairly unrealistic. So Dan Ronan and I are on a conference call tomorrow with my rep, and I asked for a Verizon engineer, but it's someone higher up in Verizon to talk about a solution for the senior high. So I'll know better tomorrow after we get off with Verizon. If they don't have an adequate solution, then we'll just have to investigate some other way to extend the signal in there. But there's nothing wrong with the signal in there. I mean, we don't have any kind of cell thing. We're not responsible for Verizon's or AT&T's service to get into our buildings. And as we've made them, more secure over the years with, the glass that we've put in and the way we built the additions and solidified some different things, it just doesn't promote signal from the outside coming in. So that's really, it's not something specific to us. It happens in a lot of buildings. I'm sure you're in a lot of buildings in other places that where the cell phone signal is great until you walk right in the door.
Yeah, and I understand that. The question is can we make it better? What cost? And
well, that's what we're hoping to find out from Verizon tomorrow.
Jared, if you get any information, let's put it on the agenda for the board.
What?
But we also have Wi-Fi in our buildings, and we have a teacher BYOD that the teachers can connect to, and I know Verizon and AT&T pretty much on all levels of service now. The phones will operate over Wi-Fi. So I know Verizon. You turn on it's like HD calling, and when you're on Wi-Fi, your phone operates normally like it just would be on a cell phone signal. So that they can already do that.
Randy, this is Wade. Is there a way for me to make my phone automatically connect to the Wi-Fi when I enter the building?
Yeah, your phone already does. We just require a login to the captive portal once a day. But your phone actually connects to the Wi-Fi. You just need to authenticate to it. There's not an issue with connecting. It's just authentication.
But if I'm the public going to a basketball game, I can't get on the Wi-Fi system.
No.
Okay, so we have,
and again, that's nothing unusual. That's not something. I mean, that's not something that we did on purpose. I mean, that's actually illegal to do. So that's just the way the building was. That's the way the new. The new gym was the material that it's made of, and it's
I understand that, but we're getting, people are used to using their phones now, and we're getting some pushback on not being able to, the public not being able to use their phones.
Well, and we're going to do everything we can to try to fix that. But again, this is not an unusual thing that's unique to us, and everybody knows that largely whenever you're in those kinds of buildings, that the cell reception will be poor, if non-existent.
Okay.
Well, then I think they should walk outside.
Pass your report along to Jared when you get it.
Yes, yeah. Dan and I are going to be on the call tomorrow, and we'll see what they say. Like I said, we're looking at Verizon's technology to try to extend it in. If they don't have something, then we may look at just like a third party extender somehow.
Randy, when you said Dan Rowan's going to be with you, isn't he the athletic director?
He is, and he's been he and I have been kind of working together on solutions and things like that. We've been making wireless or Wi-Fi is available to the sports teams that came in, not to the general public, but we make sure that like Renda can get on and the opposing teams have access if they need to. Like we just did he just had a wrestling tournament in there a couple weeks ago. So their whole registration and, how the day was going and the whole 9 yards. So we had that whole program set up so that they were able to connect to Wi-Fi and run the tournament and all that kind of stuff.
Randy? Is it parents who are complaining at games?
I don't know for sure. We can ask Dan. I think parents have said something to him. I don't know to what extent they've been asking for it.
Well, we can raise their taxes.
Tom, it looks like Sally raised her hand.
Go, yeah, fine. Sally.
Oh, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, those gyms are used a lot by students, and students are dropped off and put in the care of the coaches for practices. and the parents just want to be able to communicate with their students when they're in the gyms. Yes, I've gotten a lot of concerns from parents because I go to a lot of the basketball games, and they held elementary tournaments there and all that. So it's not so easy to say just step outside if you're in the middle of watching a game. It's just not feasible for the parents to do that.
Sorry.
But I'm sure that the parents are going to be real happy, when we can say, well, it's on the agenda, they're working on it. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, we'll do the best we can to get the signal extended onto the inside. And like I said, if Verizon doesn't give us a reasonable solution, then we'll do it. We'll look at something else.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, we look forward to hearing from you. Then I put cell service on twice, so we can skip 8, back to 9. Jared, is this the revised?
It is,
capital?
yes, sir. Yep, we made a lot of revisions at the last meeting. Also updated with any projects that have been approved since July 17th outside of what was, approved on the 17th. I also, like I said, added the stadium lighting as well on there as a number 1.
Okay, so if we jog through this again, teacher's desk, carpet replacement, concrete, that's public address systems, we're moving toward that. Security systems are done, window security film is done. Auditorium lighting is, that's the junior high. What do we got?
I'm just trying to add up
The only thing, Tom, is by default, the first 2 items listed as number 2 are probably going to wind up being number 1 if we take action on them at the board level.
Auditorium lighting at the junior high, I would make a number 2.
Says lightning.
Light.
We're gonna have lightning.
I like it when the people have spelling troubles. Musical instruments we're doing every year. I suspect that we're not spending $65,000 a year.
We haven't spent any this year because early on in the year,
No, we put a close down on it.
we were
Yeah.
directed to save all money for Eisenhower. So
Yeah, are we okay to open that gate again?
Yeah, we're up to 1.5 million on these number 1s or more, depending on how you read.
that's up to the board.
Well, that
the committee.
LGI seating, can we change that number?
Well, yes, we can change the LTs. Yes, that should be 20,000 or 15,000, whatever the chairs are gonna cost.
Senior high, you mean?
Senior high LGI seating.
Surely not.
It's already number 1.
It's number
Yeah,
1.
but
It's
You're
not-
saying you want to
the
chip it
amount,
down.
the
Well,
amount is,
Oh,
What, so taking off 30,000 is not going to help too much.
it's gonna help 30,000.
Well, okay, but let's do it, but still, we got other problems
Okay.
like this East Pike rooftop. Or what
That's,
is this? Control
that's
system.
under, why is that $1 million?
because that's how much it was originally approved for.
Okay,
was
but it's only
already-
costing us 500?
That's all we have to spend out of this year to finish paying it off.
Okay, so. what's-
Oh, I
It's
see.
going to go
Okay,
away
okay,
at the
yeah.
end
So
of
at
this
the end of
budget.
this year, we'll retire it.
But we finished paying it off this year.
Okay,
So it's money spent in the current school year.
Thank you.
okay,
That's what we're looking at right now is the budget for 23-24.
so this would be the fall 24. No, this is the budget for now.
For the current school year.
Okay, okay. What's the story on the control systems? Is that been
It's just a placeholder.
just a placeholder? Okay,
Would you not, so you're not realistically seeing it as in the next 2 years, or are you? I mean, how do you feel?
It depends. I don't know what the system looks like or what their needs are. I mean,
would that, Jared, would that be something that possibly could be part of the ESCO, or does it make sense to even included in the ESCO project.
Probably. I think it may have been one of the laundry list items the last time we looked at an ESCO project. I think it was actually. Last time Brian Town, like 2 years ago when he presented a project.
I'm sorry to labor this. We spent $1 million on the rooftops at East Pike.
Between the roof replacement and the rooftops.
Yeah, we sure did.
But
Okay, so it should be East Pike rooftop and roofing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of East Pike, didn't we just do the driveway a few years ago? What's wrong that it needs 11?
That was to put some of the fill in along the sides.
That was already done.
Yeah.
So that's been, okay.
Yeah, that's done.
The budget here is meant to track not only what we want to do this year, but what we have done this year.
So what's that BA stand for?
Board approved.
I had it before. Before or after.
Okay. Boiler's done.
Even if we had easy cash flow, I don't think we could do it all possibly just because of the labor it takes to figure everything out,
There's no current.
the time and the energy.
Well, no,
I mean, the window security film, is that
that's done.
all done?
It's been complete. That number, I need to double check on that number. I think it was significantly less than that after Mike was talking.
Okay.
Yep, I'll update that.
And now you're gonna add this, what is it you're gonna add now onto this,
Child care room and the science center.
yeah, but there was another one we were just talking about.
So at the end of this
No.
fiscal year, in June, you'll take off of this everything that's been completed. Is that what you'll do?
Solar stuff? Yeah, when we look at
No.
approving the 24-25 budget, anything that's
I'm
not
not
gonna
putting
carry
that-
over will be removed. So we
That to
approve
me
a
is a
24-25 budget.
Right now,
Okay.
Musco. Musco.
The lighting.
That's the stadium
Yeah.
lighting.
Are you trying to put that under number one?
It's under number one right now. It's
Oh, wait,
$400,000.
what number? What's the line item?
400,000.
We don't have line items. 400.
400,000 is right there.
Oh, that's, okay, I didn't understand. Okay, now I get it. Well,
I'm wondering, Jared, to help clarify whether or not
I don't know realistically.
things
that we
have been
can put out that
completed,
money this year.
even though they're still on here for your tracking, and I agree 100%. We
We
should
could
track
move them somewhere else, like that.
Or could you highlight them with
I understand.
something that we can still read it, but
Change.
know that it's been completed, so that when we start trying to
You could probably put another call.
You should
figure
just make
out
the
what,
chart smaller.
I don't care how he does it.
Yeah.
But just some way to track what's
This-
actually been completed.
Yep.
So that it'll simplify then that which is left for us to consider for the next go round.
Yeah, because in order to get this divided up, a little
Particular-
bit, we're gonna have to, redesign this.
Particularly if the one item you said, the security film or whatever was actually
Bailing
cheaper
on us.
than
Watch the last
what you.
Watching the whole race.
There they go. There they go. There they go.
Yep.
Here they
No,
go.
I'll break them out. Yeah.
But
So that we
on
spend
the-
it in the year, but it's
Shady, on
already
the four
completed.
hundred thousand,
Correct.
Yep.
you wouldn't,
can leave that.
on the lighting,
And again, I don't care. how
Thanks
you-
for coming.
fields. Is there any way that could be, realistically speaking, in terms of the people you have to speak to and all the starting and getting everything signed up on, that could go to this next fiscal year?
Well, it could. The next fiscal year is in the end of summer.
So nothing, everything's working right now, is what I'm saying. Everything right now is working, correct,
No,
on the lights?
I'm making a guess here, but
I mean, they're functioning, but
They're
as soon
functioning.
as the light bulb burns out,
We have,
We can't
we
replace
can't
it.
replace them right now. They're not safe unless we spend the $20-some thousand to,
okay, so 20,000 this year I get, but this rest of this sum, how is that gonna spread out over the years? We can't possibly bite that off in 1 year. The 400,
I mean, we have the cash to do it sitting
I
in
know,
there.
but still,
Yeah,
It's either
As
gonna
I
be one
said,
bite
it's
or no
only-
bite,
really?
it's gonna be 21,000
or 400 and something.
400.
Yeah, but I mean, how would that be paid out? Over 2 years? In other words, they're not gonna install this stuff overnight.
It'd probably be installed over the summertime if we were to do it.
So you
And then it
have,
would
you could
be-
have half now and half in the second next year's budget.
Half in September and half in and put it off.
No, there's gonna be. some
I mean,
kind
it's
of-
gonna be one check. They're gonna come in.
Well, why would we pay up front?
We wouldn't. We would pay at the end. Let's say they do the work over the summer. We're gonna pay the whole check in September when we get the bill.
Unless they say it's 200 now and 200 then. So, but they're a pretty big company. I don't know.
I mean, there's no cash flow issue with it. Well, what's the purpose of splitting it over 2 years?
Because something else worse could come along.
Well,
I mean, it's only
you either
February,
sign the
and I
contract
hear
to do
this
the
every-
work, or you
Well, I
can't do
know.
half of it.
Or you could just wait till the light bulb goes out, then some.
You could. That's
Yeah, the
Well,
problem
they
is
should do
that
that
at some
in
point the light
October.
bulbs go out and we go below what the safety level is for playing games on it. All our games have to go to daytime.
Do that, yeah, light bulb goes out in October and you're not gonna be able to have that done for the following week.
So they can still install and all I'm trying to do is slow down our payables.
Yeah.
I'm trying to slow it down, even if you get an extra 30 days, an extra 60 days, an extra 90 days, you've sort of slowed the process.
When you talk to these people on the 11th, find out what their payment schedule is. Okay, find out how they do that.
And when they would want to install, is it late summer versus May? In other words, trying to.
Well, right now, we're pushing the limit of getting it done before football season. Like when they come out on the 11th and they give us a proposal,
We're gonna have
we
to act
almost
on it.
have to overnight approve it and get it off so that they can get the materials ordered, get everything here and get it installed
Yeah.
before
And
football
we,
season.
and
So-
there's gonna be, especially if we go to different polls, that we will
Right.
have some prep to do.
Right. So if this drags out, it will not happen by football season. And we will need to repair the safety cables in order to get lights changed.
Well, then we could expedite our receivables, give people 5 days to pay.
we don't have many receivables.
She's talking about property taxes.
Yeah, we could try that. That won't work. We would be in the slammer if we tried that, but,
Doesn't look like you go to jail anymore for doing the illegal things.
I don't
It
know.
looks like you just keep appealing until you're back in charge.
But it takes money. Okay, well, I have a better idea, but we're gonna kind of redesign this a little bit so we can see how it's.
Yep.
Yeah, I suggested he make it.
What's the story in the boiler stack at the senior high? What does that mean? We're carrying $20,000 to replace it. Why?
That is the exhaust for the RBI.
What's RBI?
Is there, all of those just keep failing and failing. It's between every section they put together, they use a silicone. And the condensing boilers, that discharge is very acidic and it just eats away at that stuff. And we've repaired them since we've started putting RBI boilers in here. I think we've done Horace Mann at least 3 times, possibly 4. It's got some issues right now. Senior high is in very poor condition. I just had junior high repaired just recently because it's a very short one. And the cost was more reasonable to get done. They just continue to fail and they can't find any type of product to put in there that has a long life.
So if we spend $20,000, what do we get?
You get a couple years out of it.
Holy smokes.
That's the downside to the condensing boilers, is the very acidic output of gas. And, because they're condensing boiler, you have a lot of condensation in those flue pipes.
Can't you put
I keep asking
vinegar
about
in it?
that. Is there anything out there that's some type of PVC that could be installed instead of that?
Duralast.
I've never gotten an answer from from any of those mechanical companies that do these repairs.
I mean, they have a vested interest in coming back.
Right, yeah.
Okay. We did only approve one van at a reduced cost.
And was ordered today.
How much?
$76,000.
Holy smokes. So your $80,000, there's enough money to put gas in the tank.
You could be still our heart.
Yeah, shoot.
Not sure what the wrap would cost.
You just have a board that
Say,
doesn't
might have to
spend
just
money.
not do without a wrap.
Or a committee.
Okay, so the district van purchases 60,000, we spent 75,000. Did we replace that maintenance truck?
We have one ordered, yes. But now we've talked about possibly putting another one on there
That's my
too
question.
for the future, but
Yeah, let's put that in Julie's 24 budget. Early. Okay. Let's publish this to the board. Okay.
when you say public, just send it to the board.
Yeah, send it to the board and make sure that they, you know, so that's, if they have any comments on it. They can do that during my. What?
So the Sherwin-Williams 6868.
These. These spaces here.
We're not gonna paint them.
Here you go. Here you go.
That's your panels. This is the box.
This is the 6868. That's the red,
That's this color here.
the red, yes.
Yeah. The yellow is what you and I were talking about.
The yellow is which one?
The yellow is,
The yellow's the one
it's
that's-
a yellow, it's a green yellow,
6708.
6708, yeah.
Right, but we're looking at.
See, that's not gonna be true on that computer screen. That is really
This is a
discouraging.
Macintosh. It's
You're
really,
so cool. I can't even, I'm just like.
it's gonna be
How old
green
is it?
yellow. This is a-
Mine's paid for. Is yours?
Which, your Macintosh? Yeah.
I have three.
We have cash on these things.
Okay,
It's a green yellow. It's not a yellow.
it is sort of a chartreuse that has that, but I don't know how true that is because yellow is very tricky.
Yellow, very tricky.
I
And then
once
this is the
thought I
gray.
had the perfect yellow when I was pregnant and I painted a powder room. It looked great that night until I got up in the morning. It was like bright and almost wanted to fall over, so I had to repaint it. At 8 months pregnant, I want you to know I didn't.
Did you? What else you got? That's it for me. Anything else?
The only other thing, prior by the March board meeting, I will have, for approval for the board, the kitchen equipment for Eisenhower. So that those bids in, I've been working since we got done with transportation to start looking at those to have our recommendation, so.
Okay. When will we have the transportation contract approved?
The actual contract to approve, I just got a rough draft of it sent today, so Mike and I are gonna start to look at it and take a look. Hopefully by the March 11th board meeting, we'll have the final contract to approve.
Anything from you? Everything's running like
All
clockwork.
good. We had a little, figure out how to, a training session on the mass notification system, the PA system over at Ben Franklin this past week. They're gonna do some work on it to try to customize it to meet our needs, but Eli seems encouraged that that can be done. So we'll probably have a better understanding of it by next meeting, next month, and be able to move on from there.
Do we include the maintenance in the maintenance department and all the other those briefings? Or is there a representative when you do these things?
The trainings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted Joe to be there. Joe was off on bereavement that day, so he couldn't be there, but we'll bring him up to speed on how it operates.
And are they included in drills and everything? Drills, so that they know it's okay.
Are you satisfied with where it is today?
I'm encouraged by it. I think it's gonna be a nice system. I think it's
Your
gonna,
recommendation is we
it's gonna fit
extend it
whatever
to
we
the
need.
buildings?
So you think,
We get it worked, we get the everything worked out. We'd like to give you an opportunity to take a look at it and see for yourself how it works.
The reason to say that is that if we're going to extend it, we wanted in place by fall.
Well,
And
and that's
so we gotta move on.
probably why we want you to see it in the next few weeks after we get
Oh, good.
things worked out on it. And so you can
We gotta bring Julie and make sure
have
it's
an
okay.
educated decision on it by March.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank
No,
you.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Go home,
So we're adjourned.
please.
Tom, it's only 7:30.
What are we gonna do for the next 2 hours?